So we know that if the Blue Jays sign Shohei Ohtani, it's going to be a pretty big deal. I believe last week I said it would be equal to the bat flip in terms of fan reaction and, or at least personal meaning to me.
It would be one of the biggest and greatest moments in Canadian sports history, flat out, like unquestionably. And that shouldn't even, you shouldn't even hesitate to think about that. It's just that's a fact. He's also the cure-all to basically all that ails the Blue Jays, right? Disinterest from the fans, a need for a bat that fits perfectly into the middle of their lineup, a guy that potentially helps the future of their pitching staff that is a little bit old, and there's some uncertainty moving forward. He's a face of your franchise that everybody loves and that would be here long term, unlike some of the young guys that they have here right now. Don't push back. This is all fact. I don't want to hear it from you.
Not a perfect fit as far as the lineup is concerned.
How not?
He's a DH.
Oh,
He's a DH.
All right,
George Springer played 30 games at DH. Vlad played 30 games at DH last year. They still need a left fielder, a third baseman, and a second baseman. Like that's not true.
So you want Shohei to play all the positions?
No, I'm saying like he's great, and I'd give him $500 million, but like Juan Soto is the easier fit on this team.
Okay. I'll take Shohei over one.
So will I.
Yeah. And I will also take him at the cost of the imperfect fit and tell Vlad to play more first base and Springer to play more of the corner outfield position. Would you not agree? Like, it seems like a pretty easy fix for those guys to do the thing. I meant more actually like the batting lineup because they couldn't hit last year. Any DH, whatever. It's just he is a DH. Like, the positional value is clearly not there. But either way, like all the other stuff, like the optics, the actual, like, their biggest need this offseason is not whether George Springer should play less games in left field. It's, the defense is fine. They've got to find defense. It's, can you add exciting bats and make sure that when people go to the Rogers Center, they see home runs again? Because, I went to a lot of games last year, and I didn't see very many of those. They were pretty rare.
Maybe you can tell Vlad how to hit. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, that I got to say, too, that is the other part of this.
To me, that's the Soto thing. Like the countrymen, like I think those two guys are pretty fond of each other, Vlad and Juan Soto.
Oh, no, I was thinking about how people really want the seriousness of the organized, like the guys to start to change the attention to detail. And I feel like if you have Shohei, he's obviously your best player. And I believe that best players set the culture, set the tone. And to me, it's like you're going to have more attention to detail on the base paths if Shohei Ohtani is sitting behind you.
And maybe everyone's going to say less in the post-game interviews as well.
Yep.
When Shohei's there, everyone's
but
going
who
to
cares?
climb up.
What's the great quote we've gotten in a post-game interview in the last 3 years from the Blue Jays? Can anybody remember anything that was ever said by a Toronto Blue Jays player in a post-game? The most interesting thing we got was right after the Barrios exit. That's it.
Whit Merrifield, who was no longer a part of the organization.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. A guy that was on the way out, Whit Merrifield. So that's the number one thing. So that's your big risk, is no more Whit Merrifield once in a... Well, guess what? Here's my guess, too, is they're not removing Barrios early from games anymore. I think that plan has changed. Okay, but what if they don't sign him?
It's bad.
It's really bad. Because I was making fun of people with the conspiracy theory of, like, this is just a PR campaign to distract people from last year's season. I'm like,
no.
It's the worst PR campaign ever, because you've actually driven up more hype and expectation than ever before. And if they do miss on Shohei Ohtani, I feel like everyone is going to be furious. And even if you trade for Juan Soto, people are just going to go, well, now you had to give up all these assets. They're going to be pissed about this. Like, there's really nothing that compares to signing Shohei.
There isn't. But I will say Soto's a nice consolation prize. Like, depending on what they have to give up, and it does feel like it would be centered around Alek Manoah. Do you see Shohei Ohtani? You just pointed at somebody. Anyways, no, you would have to give up, like, at least Alek Manoah. It does feel like, and I had John Morosi on yesterday, and he said that, it's hard to imagine a Juan Soto trade that doesn't include Alek Manoah, and that would suck. Like, that would be hurtful, but he didn't impact your rotation last year, and he might not be a capable major leaguer ever again, and you have 4/5 of the rotation. And again, like, Juan Soto, in the overall sense, like, baby ears here, like earmuffs, Juan Soto might be the better bet over the next 10 years than Shohei Ohtani. Of course, you're only guaranteed one, but, like, if you can go to $500 million for Shohei Ohtani, does it not stand to reason that you could maybe play in the financial ballpark of Juan Soto? He plays a position. He does all the things that Shohei Ohtani does. He hits home runs. He walks. And, again, plays a position. And he's 25 years old. So, like, I think the nightmare is both of those guys. But I think while it would be a huge gut punch, huge to not just the fans, but I think that front office as well. Yeah, I could pretty easily convince you that Juan Soto's a better fit. And don't worry, I'm saving these takes for next week, that you didn't want Shohei anyways because he doesn't want this smoke.
Yeah, listen, I love you. You're one of my best friends on the planet, and I know you well. And so you are preparing this take of I'm actually the elevated baseball person who thought Juan Soto all along was the better fit. He's not. And he's not going to. He will drive interest in the hardcore baseball fan community, but people will still now view acquiring a player of that ilk as somewhat of a failing. There will be a lot of people that view that.
I'm not questioning
and here's
that.
the other part is you're going to give up Alek Manoah. That's a certainty. But all of a sudden, if you're trading for this guy that the Yankees are also interested in, the price of acquisition is not going to be cheap. Yep. The second part of this is
huge.
If you're paying Juan Soto, you're doing it next offseason. Mm-hmm. He's not being traded here. And then you're
going an extension. He's not going to do that.
He's going to go to market.
Yeah.
That is a bona fide 100%. So you actually have a doomsday scenario of next year is the all-in year. You now have 0 prospects in the cupboard. You have a young pitcher. You're maybe losing Ricky Tiedemann, right? I don't know.
Hard to imagine they give up a guy that's been a top 5 American League Cy Young Award candidate and the top prospect.
I agree, but I don't think it's a 0%er, right? I don't think it's a 0%er.
You are against the wall.
That's what I'm saying. You're completely up against the wall, and that's the way that this will be perceived. Unless the Jays end up acquiring this guy for cents on the dollar. This is a horrible trade example, but Zadorov, where people went, holy crap, it was a 3rd and a 5th? That's not at all what we were expecting. We were expecting a first. If the Jays traded for Soto and it was Aurelvis Martinez at the very top of the pile, right? Mm-hmm. If they kept the other 2 guys, then people would be going, oh, that's totally acceptable. You get the 1 year, great. You're eating all the money. They sent them something else. Amazing. The amount that you're going to have to give up to get Soto and the anxiety of the year of everyone feeling pressed about will Soto stay? Should you fall in love with him? Is this Kawhi 2.0? You're trying to go for a championship all year with a bust, and then what happens if he ends up leaving? Do you have to strip it down? Every loss feels monumental. Any injury feels huge. It's just the pressure of that all of a sudden, the recalibration of that, I think is really difficult, especially given that, to me, if the Yankees are showing this much interest right now, they're going to go to free agency and offer him as much money as the Blue Jays are going to offer him.
Oh, yeah.
And then he's going to go, wait, would I rather go play for the New York Yankees or would I rather stay here in Toronto unless I won a championship here? I feel it's tough. And then you go after that, right? And then what does it become?
Oh, yeah. And if it doesn't work out, you could easily do the pivot thing, and it's why the Kawhi trade made so much sense, because they could have, if it didn't work out, you could have pivoted off of it and totally rebuilt. Yeah, you have no choice if you trade for Juan Soto and it doesn't work out, and you have 1 more year of Bo and Vlad, is to take calls on both of those guys. If you're not extending them, then it's over, and then you get only a year beyond that of Gossman, and you're the grand for sure. But for next year, that would be exciting. It would be fine. It would be fine. I do think, though, and you mentioned that April game at home, or the April series against the Dodgers at home. Mm-hmm. Another part of this, the Shohei thing that I've started to think about in the last couple of days, especially when the insiders are starting to turn on Shohei Ohtani. Are there going to be some fan bases that turn on Shohei Ohtani for the first time in his major league career, because he's been so universally beloved, right? Who does? Because he plays on the irrelevant Angels that nobody's afraid of beating their team in some playoff series, right? Even if you're a divisional opponent of the Angels, you're not terrified of the Angels, and I hate the Angels, but I can get past it to get to my Shohei Ohtani love. I mean, if the Blue Jays miss out on Ohtani, is he going to be booed for the first time in his entire career in that April series?
Armin asked me this question the other day, and I said, maybe he does. I think it dissipates pretty quickly. And again, he'd be playing for the Dodgers or the Giants in this scenario, right? So you see him once a year. Mm-hmm. And I think that he'd be able to park that pretty quickly. And to me, it would actually be kind of good for baseball if there were some other markets that actually had a real feeling towards Shohei Ohtani other than, hey, this is amazing. There was different discourse. But yeah, back to the question, though, of what do the Blue Jays do? The front office, again, is under complete pressure. Everybody back to completely hating them. There's going to be a lot of people that think that this was some kind of a ploy or that the Blue Jays were never really in it and that the media overhyped it and that the circumstances were overplayed by everybody involved and that nobody actually knew and that it was never realistic and it was a horrible plan. So I think like the optics of it are terrible, right? The Soto thing becomes extremely difficult as we just went over. But I think the biggest question in all of it is actually like how they pivot in the free agent market and in the trade market. Like what becomes of the rest of the team that you're going to be doing? Because at least with Soto, it's exciting and it'll be controversial what they give up in the trade and it'll put all the pressure on the year, but you'll want to go you'll want to see the star.
There's only one Soto.
That's what I'm saying.
There's only one pivot. That's why the pressure would be immense to consummate a trade for him and also keep him away from the Yankees.
Buddy, this is what I'm saying. For a year anyways, you're renting him from the Yankees for a year. When I'm looking at the rest of the free agent market and I keep trying to cobble together some type of a team like...
No. Jeimer Candelario. You have to talk yourself into that.
But I can't.
No.
And I won't.
Cody Bellinger.
I mean, I will.
Like you have to talk yourself into, but
I don't think there's a chance they get Cody
I
Bellinger.
agree.
I don't think that this is like if they have the leftover money, it goes to some other guys. Like that's what's going to disappoint some people here. Is like this isn't just the baseball money.
Yeah.
This is the Shohei money.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, there's a real financial plan that you can put forth in front of Edward Rogers, who's like, I know like $500 million. That seems like a lot over 10 years, but like look at what we can do outside of the baseball team with Shohei Ohtani to generate revenue. It's not the same. It is unequal to some of the other contracts you've seen in pro sports. There's a secondary component to that we can actually point to. Like we have data points now. Dude,
I don't know how they sell it. Like I genuinely have no clue as to what they would do to incite excitement about the baseball team now. Like it's gone too high. It's gone so high with the Shohei stuff and potentially with it. Like, so I keep seeing Christian Yelich's name brought up. Like, you've seen it? No?
I haven't seen it.
Anyway, I keep seeing it. Like
Christian Yelich stinks now.
Yeah, but that's exactly. It's like bounce back candidates, trade guys that you could go out and get.
Oh, man, my trade proposal of Vlad for Christian Yelich seemed so good when he won the MVP and then, like, not so good when he
I forgot about
fell
you did
back
that
down
one.
to earth.
I forgot about you did that one. But it's like, you look out there and just see what trade that this team is making and, like, what the move they're making is. Like, at this point, it seems pretty clear to me that they're not moving Vladdy or Bo, right? Like, we can stop doing the whole... Hey, they make a big, huge, exciting trade with one of those two guys. I thought that there was once a possibility for that. Now it just seems like absolutely not. It's like you have Alek Manoah and potentially Ricky Tiedemann and Aurelvis Martinez, who, by the way, if you remove Aurelvis Martinez, that hurts your position. Like now you kind of have to sign Matt Chapman again to a horrible contract because you've just got no hope internally of replacing anybody. Like Addison Barger's not playing third base for this team next year, and I don't think that they're having a platoon of him and Espinal and Biggio in a must-win season. No. It's crazy that it goes from, hey, it's going to be either the best thing that's ever happened to your baseball team, or you're in arguably one of the worst positions that you can remember.
Buddy, there is no worse thing in sports, I think, than like counting on internal improvement, right? Yeah. Like, that's going to be the sell on the 2024 Toronto Blue Jays. It's like, Vlad is... Listen, he might not be 2021 version ever again, but he can be a reasonable facsimile.
Yeah.
Hey, Alejandro Kirk had a down, like, more than a full calendar year. But, like, no, that's in there somewhere. And once he gets a little separation from the birth of his first child, he'll be... Like, That's Nightmaresville stuff. I mean, maybe you get like a Joey Votto signing to distract you a little bit.
No, but that's what I'm saying is I wonder if the Shohei experience is at least, right, has at least made these guys think about how desperately they need this to be a hit. Mm-hmm. Like how they can't walk into the season with that arrogance of we actually won, what did they win, 89 games last year?
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, we won 89 games, and we feel as though this, and you start to push that stuff forward, just like how quickly a bad losing streak or a bad month or whatever is going to drive fan disinterest in this Blue Jays team, or like how little some people are going to care.
Maybe now that like the door to divisional trades is open with like the more balanced schedule and the expanded postseason roster, you can talk yourself into a Randy Arozarena trade or a Tyler Glasnow trade or both of them. If now it's just like the the box is open. Pandora's box is now open, and the Yankees and the Red Sox can trade with each other for not a guy of no significance in Alex Verdugo, and who might be flipped to the Padres, but maybe not. Maybe he's hitting home runs in the short porch in right field at Yankee Stadium. If that's happening, maybe you can trade for Tyler Glass now and Randy Arozarena.
I was going to say, I like that now you've outlined, hey, you can do a trade with the Rays, who are,
No, that works out generally
Rays,
for the team.
Whenever teams pick on the Rays, it always works out for that team. It never backfires.
No, Chris Archer doesn't immediately turn to dust.
Yeah.
And Austin Meadows doesn't immediately turn to dust.
It's incredible the way that this thing's gone. Anyway, we got to run. Thank you for making time today.